So I got a question about control, and especially how much control do we actually have over our lives? And I thought it was a pretty interesting question because really depending on how we see or like this world and how much control we have over it, that really determines the amount of effort that we put into changing something. If you just never had any control over your life, and this was always the life that you were dealt with and nothing you can do will ever change that, then you won't really put in much effort into anything because it's like, this is it. On the other hand, if you are capable of changing the things around you, then you'll put in so much effort to be able to change the life to making it more towards the way that you want it to be. And in this video, I'm going to make a case that we are actually in less control than we think, but then we're also very capable of changing our own situation. If you have not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course the bell. The three aspects that I'll be talking about today, the first one is, do we actually have control over this life? The big question. The second one is, can we actually control anything at all in our life? And the third one is, what do we do now after understanding all these different things? Think about it. From the time of your birth to at least the first 10 years of your life, everything is pretty much mapped out for you because we are unable to clothe ourselves. We don't control the language that we're learning. We don't control the school. We don't control the parents, or if we have any siblings. We don't control what kind of environment or country. None of these actions that we do are actually like ourselves because we never had control over any of these activities because we are completely dependent on our family or our caretaker. And sometimes I understand that it might feel like we have control over our lives when we're younger, oh yeah, of course. I want to drink soda, I want to eat pizza, I want to play games. All these different decisions that are there that we made it. But how much of that is actually influenced by our environment, around the people that we're with? Are we playing games just because everyone else is playing it and we want to be good at it? Do we eat pizza because our family are eating pizza all the time, or we saw different commercials and wow, the pizza looks really good, so we picked it? So now that I have made this depressing enough for most of you watching this, saying oh man, we actually don't have control over our lives, or we have less control than we actually think. If you don't really like your life, it doesn't mean that your life is over. Because there are actually different aspects that we can control. And as long as we practice and make a habit, we can actually change more things than you would expect. So now on to the things that we can control. These are things like our effort, how hard do we actually study? Our friends, we don't have control over our environment, but we can control who we want to be around, the people that are more so toxic, or the people that are more willing to encourage us. What kind of goals do we want to set? If our goal is to wake up and be, full, satisfied most of the time, then that's kind of a bare minimum goal, which is not overly good. But let's say if you strive to have bigger goals, then your vision will be bigger, your direction will be different. So these are things that can change depending on what you set that to be. Our reactions. There might be different situations or accidents or things that happens in your life, and we don't have control over let's say if someone bumped your car. But we can control over how we react to that situation. Here, the thing that you can see that I'm really focusing on here is we can't really control the cards that we're dealt with, but we can learn how to play these cards. Because depending on how we play the cards that we are given, these cards might actually improve. This is where all the strategy comes in. Because no two people have the exact same cards. So for you, you can develop a unique strategy using the cards that you are dealt to be able to play a different life. And it might be very different than how other people's lives are. But depending on how you play these cards, that is what your life is going to be like. So all the focus here is, what is the strategy that you are playing with these cards? And two, do you actually understand what cards you have? Have you explored your abilities enough to know that you might be a very creative person? Or that you might actually be able to talk to a lot of people. Right now you just need a little push. Or that you are actually a very great engineer. And when you understand all these different cards that you have, you put them together, combine them, then you can be able to actually make something that's substantial happen. So it's never really about the starting point, it's about how you finish. And that is it. Hopefully you guys got something out of, I guess, my take on what control actually is. It's actually really sometimes disappointing, or it feels like you're in despair if you can't change anything, because then why bother with life, right? So I do think that we have some degree of control. We just have to make the best of what we have. And that is it. Stay strong, stay healthy, and yeah, the usual. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Yeah. And I'll talk to you guys next time.